Hello guys, welcome back to Angry Bird video game series tutorial in Unity. In this video, we are going to finally make this beautiful Angry Bird game scene. So, let's begin. For designing our game, we need some asset pack. So for that, you will get a download link in the description as well as in the first video. So once you download the assets, just extract the assets and we have to import it. So for importing, you have to simply drag and drop the entire folder into Unity editor. And as you can see, our folder is imported. Let's close this. Come to under Angry Bird asset packs. You can see three folders, that is Angry Bird. You can see there are multiple Angry Birds, then piggies, and once we go to advanced, we have four levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4, and obstacles. Under obstacles, you can find all these obstacles, and under level 1 to level 4, we have different background. This is level 1 background, then similarly level 2, level 1, and then level 3, and finally level 4 over here. So in this video we are going to use level 4. Before that, I'll just replace our red ball with our actual Angry Bird. So for that, let's go to Angry Birds, Angry Bird. I'm going to use this red Angry Bird. I'll move it in the hierarchy, go back to scene and resize our Angry Bird little bit smaller. And once we are done, I'll rename it to red Angry Bird. Now we have to add a few components, that is rigid body 2D, then spring joint 2D, and our circle collider. Let's go back to assets, physics material, go to Angry Bird. Under rigid body 2D, we have to drag and drop a physics material. Once we are done with this, go back to assets, prefabs, drag and drop our red Angry Bird to make it as prefab. Then let's remove it from the scene. Then go to Angry Bird handler. Over here you can see Angry Bird prefab. We have to drag and drop this prefab. Once we are done with this, let's go to simulator and play the game. As you can see, our old red ball has been converted to the actual Angry Bird. But as you can see over here, our Angry Bird is rendering below our pivot point. So let's stop it. Go to pivot. As you can see over here, under sprite renderer, order in layer, that is 0. So we have to place our Angry Bird anything above 0. So we'll go to Angry Bird. Over here, order in layer, I'll set it as 1. And let's play the game. You can see now our Angry Bird is rendering above the pivot. So let's play it. Everything is working fine. Let's stop the game. First thing I'll do over here is remove this tower as we no longer need it. Remove the ground. Let's go back to our scene. Over here we'll place our background. So I'll create a empty game object. Name it as background. Then reset the transform. Let's go to Angry Bird asset pack, advanced, level 4. So I'll drag and drop this under background. Once we are done with this, I just position it and simply go on duplicating it. So duplicating this, move it aside. As we are making this game for multiple screens, we have to make a huge background. I'll speed up this process. So as we are done with our background, let's resize the entire background. I'm resizing it a little bit lower. Let's go back to simulator, and as we can see over, it's perfectly looking fine. Let's reposition it a bit down. I can see a small gap over here, so I'll just fulfill that gap. Perfectly done. So the next thing I have to place is a slingshot. So for that we need a ground over here, right over here. So I'll go to Angry Birds, Advanced. I guess it's level 3. So over here we have this. I'll go to ground, create empty new object and name it as ground. Reset the transform and let's place this ground under this. As you can see, our ground is on the screen. We have to reposition it. So I'll place it somewhere here. This works perfectly fine for me, but I'll just move it ahead a bit. Once done, we have to give it a collider. So we'll use polygon collider. Wait, I'll just show you what happens with it. So as over here, the shape of this ground is weird. It's not in the perfect shape. So if I go and apply some circle collider, let's apply circle collider. Circle collider 2D. So as you can just see this circle that works as a collider, but I don't want this, so I'll remove it. Let's add box collider 2D. So it is in this box, but I'm not getting the perfect shape. So for that I'll use a different collider, that is polygon collider 2D. So over here this green line is the collider and it is working perfectly fine. So now over this I have to add a slingshot. So we have our slingshot under Angry Birds and obstacles right over here. So let's drag and drop this. Drag and drop this over here. Let's change the order in layer to 1. So it's visible now. Let's place it a little bit lower. So we are done with our slingshot, but I'll just reposition and re-rotate it. So we are done with our slingshot. So over here we are going to place our pivot point. So let's go to pivot, resize the pivot and place it right over here. Let's save it and go back to play. So as you can see, our Angry Bird is on the slingshot and we can launch our Angry Bird through the slingshot. So we are done with this much. Now we have to make a tower. So for that, let's go back to scene. This is again the work of just your own imagination. So I'll use my imagination and fast forward it. So now once we are done with making the entire scene, according to our material, that is wood, glass and stone, I'm going to give it a different mass. So if I come to wood, over these two blocks, this one and this, I don't want this to fall. So that's why I haven't given any rigid body component over here. And above over these layers, all these components have a rigid body. So let's check it once whether everyone has rigid body or not, and the body type should be set as dynamic. So once we are done with all verifying, then we will simply go and put our piggies into this blocks. So I'll go to piggies. Over here you can find four type of piggies. You can put this piggies wherever you want as per your need or as per your imagination and creativity. So as I have added one piggy over here, I'll just go and create an empty game object called as piggies. Let's move our piggy under this, and on our piggy we also want a polygon collider 2D. We'll go back to our assets, assets physics material, and over this piggy, okay, we'll do that later. So go to piggy and add a rigid body 2D. Set the type as dynamic. Now let's place our another piggies. So as we are done adding up piggies, let's go back to each and every piggy. So let's select every piggy, go down and add rigid body 2D component. Then go here and add polygon collider 2D. Now let's go back to our physics material. Over here under rigid body 2D, we just have to drag and drop this physics material to make it bouncy. Now as we are done with this, let's go and play. So our component is rendering at the wrong position, so we just have to reposition our pivot. Let's go back and reposition the pivot. Done with this, and go to simulator and play the game. As you can see, our game is finally ready. We can go on hitting our tower. As you can see over here, but as we have three components right over here, that is material, glass, wood and stone, we need to give them different masses. So as we have done in the previous lecture, we'll go back to scenes. First of all, what I'll do is I'll select all the wood. Okay, I'll just go and select one by one. Go to wood, come to rigid body. Over here you can give mass to it, so I'll just give it, okay, I'll just check what is the mass of our angry bird. So in prefabs, the mass of our angry bird is currently 1, so I'll replace it by 5. When we are done with this, over here as you can see we have a circle colliders, but it's not proper, so we can remove it and add polygon collider 2D. So let's go back. So as the mass of our Angry Bird is 5, we'll give the mass of our wood as, let's give it a 6 or let's 7. Same over here, or you can even give different mass, but for simplicity I'll give the 7. Now let's give mass to our glass materials. So I'm giving glass as 4, the mass of 4, and stone will have the highest mass, so it will be 8. Again, you can give mass according to you. We can also give mass to our piggies, so I'll just go and give mass of 6 to all our piggies. Now let's go back to simulator and play the game. So as you can see over here, our game is working properly, and we launched the ball. These two components don't have any rigid body, so they won't move. Let's fire up little bit up. As you can see, we are hitting the tower. So now one thing, so you might be thinking our game is done, but it's not. I'll just stop playing. Remember, we are using Samsung Galaxy Note 9, so I'll change the device now. I'll select Samsung Galaxy Note 20. It works fine, but now let's go to some smaller device. I have to check which one is a smaller device. Or let's go to iPad. Okay, so now our game is bricked. We can't play it anymore. As you can see, I'm not able to play the game. If I go to play, I'm not able to play it properly. So we are going to fix this issue in the next video. So that's it for now, and see you in the next video. Thank you.